Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. And yes, indeed, look at that good boy. It's like a puppy almost. We're back with the Empire today, going to be taking on the High Elves. I decided to make a steam tank build, so let's have some fun. We've got the obligatory Archlector leading the Faith Demis, Royal Altar of Griphites here. He's got Grand Hammer of Sigmar, Grand Shield of Faith, and particularly to protect against Sisters of Averlorn, we've also got Grand Soulfire as well. This can, of course, be used to protect the tank and buff him up as well. We've also got some Empire Knights out on this flank in the front line, some Empire State Troops, of course, plenty of State Troop Spearmen with shields, and a couple Swordsmen as well. Over here we've got another Faith Demi squad with Demigryph Knights with halberds led by a Warrior Priest. We've got Empire Knights and a Jade Wizard, of course, to heal up everything. For my opponent's army, he's got Tyrion here, front line of White Lions, with some spearmen. He's got a Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower, some additional spearmen, and an actual eagle, which is nice to see. You don't get to see these guys too often, mostly because they're terrible, but hey, I've got a steam tank, he's got an eagle, so we've got two things off of my top 5 worst monsters list. He's also got a couple of units of Dragon Princes. That's pretty much it for his army. Speaking of these Dragon Princes, they are currently getting shelled by the steam tank, which is able to generate some pretty good value for the steam tank, because of course it is absolutely terrible in melee. But hey, that's some value right there. I mean, you can't argue with that. Already taking down about 7 unit models there for the Dragon Princes, so pretty solid stuff overall. You can see my opponent realizing he needs to advance here, even though he does have some artillery. It's just the artillery advantage is definitely going to be in my favor with this steam tank having an immediate bead on these Dragon Princes. I mean, he could potentially just try and pull back and use, just pull everything back and really try and use the bolt thrower there to take down the steam tank. But that could potentially be a long, protracted artillery battle, and maybe my opponent doesn't want to do that, but oh man, lining up these Dragon Princes sideways like this towards the steam tank is definitely a mistake. As you can see here, the tank will cut through many unit models side shot like this, and it is going to be brutal for those Dragon Princes. One unit already pretty much combat ineffective. Yeah. And I mentioned my opponent's forces led by Tyrion. Let's go ahead and have a look here. It does have Heart of Averlorn, Foe Seeker, Stand Your Ground, and Feint and Riposte. So pretty standard loadout for him. We're going to see if we can catch him in the front line with the Faith Demis, but my opponent is paying attention there. So we're going to go ahead and pull back. The Eagle, I believe, is going to try and come interrupt this steam tank. You can see it's flying over this direction currently. Steam tank can't see up and over this hill, so he is going to have to try and pull forward a little bit to get a bead on these Dragon Princes here. But we do have the Empire Knights on station. My idea here was we could potentially fix these Dragon Princes in place with the Empire Knights and then fire with the steam cannon there. And yeah, the Eagle is going to come down and unfortunately start to distract the steam tank, which is not great for me. That being said, we do have the Altar of Griphites on station, of course, so it's not like this Eagle is going to last too long, but it's just a matter of holding the steam tank in place for the bolt throwers to shoot, which is definitely a viable strategy, and sort of distracting some of my units here, potentially allowing these Dragon Princes to get a good charge in here, although they're not currently taking advantage of that. Meanwhile, over on this side, mainline engagement getting underway. You can see the Faith Demis did come forward and just munch on these White Lions here, and we did go ahead and drop that Hammer of Sigmar to buff up all the units in this pocket here, Swordsmen and these Demigryph Knights, and you can see we just munched through those White Lions, no problem. The Eagles getting routed off, and you can see the Empire Knights are able to catch some of these Dragon Princes here. And yeah, of course, with the Archlector coming over, dropping his buffs, and the Demigryph Knights, we've got Empire State Troop Spearmen supporting. This is going to be a swift end to these Dragon Princes, and a most ignominious end as well, as they just get completely dragged down here. The Eagle, though, being persistent, staying on that steam tank, getting some good damage on him, so we're going to go ahead and pop a regrowth there. Good damage coming from the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower as well. And the Eagle, of course, able to get effective damage, mainly because the steam tank's melee defense is just absolute garbage. Still has been able to get an XP Chevron, though, just from the damage done to those Dragon Princes, so that's pretty solid. You can see over on this side, Tyrion unfortunately has got caught up with the Faith Demis here. He's managed to take down a couple of them, but this is an incredibly dangerous situation for Tyrion to be in. Looks like, not sure what was just dropped there. Some kind of buff. Looks like I potentially had dropped, yeah, Grand Hammer Sigmar, which did catch quite a few of those guys, and we are going to path those Empire Knights through to try and deal with some of these kind of tattered units to the backline, potentially take down that Bolt Thrower as well. Steam Tank is still online, relatively healthy, but I want to make sure we take down any threats to it if at all possible. So Dragon Prince is getting chased off, and more Empire Knights being dispatched to the backline. You can see getting a good charge here on these tattered White Lions, and going to be finishing them off. Some fire coming in from the Bolt Throwers there, and the Dragon Princes also come in to try and support. They are able to actually get some damage done here, but unfortunately Tyrion just taking a ton of damage from the Faith Demis here. Honestly, should probably pull away. I mean, he is significantly faster than the Faith Demis, of 95 speed, one of the fastest lords in the game actually, but currently still just fighting those Faith Demis, which is definitely a mistake. You can see the Bolt Thrower doing a bit of friendly fire there, but trying to take down those Empire Knights. Unfortunately, it's not quite going to be enough. Both those Dragon Princes and the White Lions getting finished off in the back line. You can see the Faith Demis come in and are going to swiftly chase off this Eagle, which immediately gets terrified and runs back up in the air. You can see the Steam Tank has been firing at these White Lions, who immediately get charged by the Faith Demis, and we're just going to get completely dragged down here. I don't know where that steam gun was going, but yeah, yeah, potentially some friendly fire here, but you know, it's all fair at the end of the day. Battle's pretty much over at this point. The Eagle did try and come down and snipe the Jade Wizard, but I believe at least he's come back. Maybe, yep, he's come back from routing, so gonna come down and try and snipe one more time. Speaking of snipe, at this point, Tyrion's finally realized he needs to get the heck out of here and pull away from these Demigryph Knights, but just getting very, very low at this point, and hasn't got the Heart of Averlorn proc. You can see the Eagle comes down, try and goon the Jade Wizard here. He's going to go ahead and pull away, but the Steam Tank's going to go ahead and just line up sights and finish off the Eagle, I think. Ooh, maybe with the Steam Gun? Nope, looks like the Jade Wizard actually lands the killing blow there. And with the Eagle going down, strangely enough, Tyrion, I believe, also potentially went down or got routed off. Not 100% sure there, but yeah. It's going to be victory for the Empire and a win for the Steam Tank, which is pretty impressive, all things considered. You know, anytime you can get a win with the Steam Tanks, not too bad. Managed to get an XP Chevron, too, shooting at Dragon Princes, which is not bad at all. Not bad at all. Managed to dump some good healing into it, and I guess it was kind of like the distraction card effects Steam Tank. You know, my opponent had to deal with it, and ended up committing a lot of resources to do so, which then put him in a very unfavorable situation to get caught out by the Archlector squad, which you can see these Royal Altep Griffites just went to town, carving up, you know, Dragon Princes, White Lions, and others, just doing a great job there. Demigryph Knights with Halberds also racking up quite a few XP Chevrons, just doing a great job. Again, tearing up Tyrion, tearing up White Lions, and more. Speaking of White Lions, some of them for my opponent did quite well. 113 kills and an XP Chevron for these guys. Not bad at all. Other than that, though, my opponent's army did struggle a little bit. 69 on these White Lions is not, or sorry, yeah, White Lions, not too bad. The Dragon Princes getting dragged down by the Steam Tank was really, really rough. The Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower was able to do some damage to the Steam Tank, so it may have been worth my opponent just pulling back his whole army and waiting for the Bolt Thrower to get in range and try and counter artillery the Steam Tank. I'd be curious to see if the Steam Tank would beat out the Bolt Thrower in that situation. You could end up just wasting a whole bunch of ammo, potentially, and just getting your Bolt Thrower killed, but, you know, have to wait and see. I have also tried this build against Bretonnia. I guess we can go ahead and take a look, as that one is pretty brief. If I remember exactly where it is here. I'm not 100% sure. I do remember, but anyway, the idea is that the Bretonnia is also not necessarily great against large armored single targets. The High Elves used to not be. I mean, they do have some answers to it, but that's the whole idea with bringing the Steam Tank against those two factions, is that it's a large armored target, not to mention that the gun is quite good, in particular at shooting at cavalry. It's probably ideal, actually, for shooting at cavalry over any other unit type from what I've found. So it stands to reason, of course, that in both of those matchups you will be facing potentially some enemy heavy cavalry, so it's definitely beneficial to have that. And of course, Bretonnia doesn't really have any good anti-large armor piercing options for taking down something like this. The High Elves do have some armor piercing missiles and a few good anti-large options, but just in general, I believe they're going to struggle to take down a steam tank, you know, without some certain tools. That being said, I still don't think it's a super competitive pick. You know, again, it's more of like a, if your opponent doesn't happen to bring the appropriate tools, it can be very, very devastating. But I think even just like 2 bolt throwers for the High Elves would probably be enough to deal with the steam tank. So, you know, take this with a massive truckload of salt. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.